What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back and we have a big topic to discuss. Off-season's here, it's in full swing. If you didn't know and if you lived under a rock, rumors are flying everywhere. Deals are being executed, agreed upon. And free agency hasn't even started yet, and we still have the draft a ways to go. We just came off of the NFL Combine, and if you haven't been watching Gill's series on the Jets, go ahead and give that a listen. But today we're going to talk Steelers QB1 situation, and you know what I think's going to happen, what I would do, what my thoughts on it, and really what are the Steelers going to do. I'll be able to tell you that, and we'll go from there. So, where do I stand on this whole situation? Here's what I think is going to happen. Obviously, the Steelers are going to ride with Kenny Pickett as QB1, and many people are going to say, that's a good decision, that's a bad decision. A lot more common and popular to say that's a bad decision, even though this time 1 year ago, people were saying the Steelers found their next quarterback. How could the NFL, slip up like that and let them get this guy, and look how he played to end his rookie year. All that stuff. He comes into year two, lights it up in the preseason, and then obviously we know what happened in the regular season. Matt Canada had fully lost his nerve and drove that offense into the ground. Matt Canada gets fired. Kenny Pickett has arguably the best game of his career. He starts off the next game following that against the Cardinals playing out of his mind, hurts his ankle. We don't see him again. So it's just real funny how people flip up so easily, so quickly, and don't look at this thing from a long-term point of view. And yeah, you're going to have the people that are the box score watchers saying, the guy's only got a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He's trash. He can't get it done. But if you actually look and you pay attention and you watch the film, you'll know that that's kind of a nonsensical stat. And I'm not going to say it's all cherries and rainbows, because it's not. Kenny needs to throw more touchdowns, plain and simple. I mean, what he was doing was not getting it done. He started to flip the script when Canada got fired, but then he got hurt, and we don't really know what would go on from there. I'd argue that if you put Kenny in that same spot that Mason was playing, Kenny would have put up the same numbers, if not better. So, regardless, that's where we sit here today. But if you look back, the handful of plays that if they go the Steelers' way, if they go Kenny's way, his touchdown number is going to look a lot higher. In the Bengals game, the second Bengals game, Deontay catches a touchdown, refs huddle up, rule it incomplete, Steelers don't challenge. That was a touchdown, and people are saying it should have been called a touchdown. The ball where George Pickens had about 14 feet of room, and he still steps out of bounds. He doesn't get 2 feet in. That's not called a touchdown. There's a play over the middle. Pat Freiermuth catches the ball, runs up the middle, gets tackled out the one. Not a touchdown. Same thing with Deontay Johnson multiple times this year and last year. Had a play with some yak, doesn't score and get into the end zone. Steelers have a rushing play up the middle. They score with a rushing touchdown, but Kenny doesn't get it on the stat sheet. So a lot of lazy takes with that whole touchdown to interception ratio thing. And again, it's not all gospel. It's not. There are both sides are correct to this, and that's why we're all sitting here talking about it, and we're not the GM, we're not Omar Khan of the Steelers right now, because we're not in that position. So really what we think doesn't matter. What they think is what matters. But that's a good transition, into what I think they think, and I think they believe in Kenny Pickett. I mean, if you look at fourth quarter QBR, Kenny Pickett's one of the top names. He's above guys like Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson, just to name a few here. Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford. He had Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Richardson. Kenny had a better fourth quarter QBR than all of those guys. So the guy's always been clutch, and the guy's always been a winner. And at the end of the day, winning's what matters, and there's the two schools of thought, right? You either have a superstar quarterback named Patrick Mahomes who's going to get you a Super Bowl, or you roll with a guy like Brock Purdy. You try to build the best possible roster around him and see if you can get it done and beat that superstar QB. And I think that's the direction the Steelers need to go here. You're paying Kenny $3 million a year right now. Build the best roster around him that you can. He's not going to be the star of the show, and he doesn't have to be. Najee Harris in this running game is going to be elite next year. The defense is going to be really good next year. As long as they get some of those guys, they add the pieces that they need. Defense is going to be elite if they stay healthy. And Kenny's going to be able to be the guy that can distribute in that offense. Look what Arthur Smith did to Ryan Tannehill in the middle of his career. He was going to be a first-round bust, turned out to be a Pro Bowler and a first-seed AFC team in that first year with Arthur Smith as head coach. I don't see why the same cannot apply to this Steelers team and with Kenny with what he has shown so far. And obviously he needs to take that another step. You know, the step he's supposed to take in the second year didn't happen. He needs to take one. If he doesn't, I see what people are coming from that they don't think he's the answer. It's the popular thing to scream on ESPN right now and to pound the fist with your Twitter fingers there. If Kenny Pickett's not the starter, I would like it to either be Justin Fields, I think is talented, but kind of the opposite of Kenny Pickett, right? Can put up some numbers, can put up stats, but doesn't win. Not clutch in the fourth quarter. Or you go the other route of bringing in a Mason Rudolph for competition, whatever. That's pretty much a meh to me. But the big rumor that's been floated out today on Thursday, this video will go up on Friday, is Russell Wilson meeting with the Steelers. And I think if you can sign Russell Wilson for the vet minimum, which he said he would take, being that the Broncos are already going to pay him $40 million for this upcoming season anyway, I don't see why you don't sign him. That's a no-brainer, because then you go into the 2024 season with Kenny, your quarterback one, your first-round pick that you want to win the job, and to do that, he's going to have to beat, the 9-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champ. Maybe he's been an All-Pro, but he's 35 and he's in the shadow of his career, Russell Wilson, and the guy that's got a lot of knowledge. And if your first-round quarterback can do that, obviously he's proven that this is his team, and hopefully he goes out there and has a hell of a season if he beat this guy out. Or you have this guy to fall back on who, granted, wasn't all that great with, the Broncos had a tough year. They went on a really hot streak there in the middle of the season. He ended up getting benched. The Broncos probably knew what direction they were going to go, but obviously a guy that's been there before, done that, all those things. Yes, he's going to have his let's ride crap that goes on and just the enigma that is his personality, but it creates a win-win scenario. Either your first round pick's going to beat out this guy, or you have the guy that should be able to come in and at least do something, throw 15, 20 touchdowns in the season for you and be able to operate under Arthur Smith's offense. So that's the direction I think I would go. I'd sign Russell Wilson if you came in on the vet minimum. I'd keep Kenny, draft whoever you want in the 5th round or later in the draft to be your 3rd string quarterback, and then you roll. You have that camp competition. You see if your first round QB and going into his 3rd year can make that jump, solidify himself. If he beats out a 35, 36-year-old Russell Wilson, he's your guy, and you're going to move forward with that. Or he doesn't, you go with Russell Wilson, and then maybe you turn your head towards the draft of 2025, and you're looking at guys like Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, potentially maybe a Dak Prescott that's coming on the market at that point if the Cowboys don't lock him up for a long-term option. And you move from there. But in the meantime, since you have barely any money wrapped up in that quarterback position, you got to nail the rest of the offense. Build up the offensive line to be great. Go draft some dogs in a very deep offensive line class. Solidify any gaps you got in your defense. Go get a safety. Go get some inside linebackers after your inside linebacker core got ravaged. And you go from there. But ultimately, there's been a lot of Kenny Pickett hate recently. The same time last year, everyone was loving on Kenny Pickett because he had finished the year so strong. I'm just saying relax to all of that. People are going to say in the comments, oh, TJ's getting older, Minka's getting older. Yeah, that's what happens. Cam Hayward's getting older. But you also got Joey Porter Jr. stepping up. You got Keanu Benton stepping up. Nick Herbig, a young guy that's going to be in the rotation as that number 3 outside linebacker this year. You got a stud on the offensive line, Broderick Jones. Add to that side. Get another couple pieces on defense. This team, it's going to be fine. Your stars are always going to get older. It's never about the stars. It's about the roster. You got to be complete. 53 man on the team. You got to be complete all the way through. And you go from there, man. That's how I would do it. And I think the Steelers aren't going to trade for Justin Fields. They're not going to spend big money on a Kirk Cousins. They're going to talk with Wilson and see if he's serious about coming into play for cheap. And if he's not, they may not go that direction, and they'll go with a Mason Rudolph. And I think, I want to see Kenny get the shot with Arthur Smith. I do. And I think he would be able to blossom just like Ryan Tannehill did. I see no reason why he couldn't. He threw for 45 touchdowns in college that senior year. It's not like he doesn't know how to do it. If you watch the film, he had a couple in the bag before refs called it back, or Pickens can't get 2 feet down, or he steps out of bounds on a couple of long balls. That's the difference. It's little stuff like that, and at the end of the day, this team was winning games, and they made it into the postseason. I think if Kenny plays in that Buffalo game, he doesn't throw that red zone interception, and the Steelers are in a much better spot to potentially win that game. So a lot that goes into it, but again, all things considered, the star of this team is going to be the running game, and it's going to be the defense. And I think Russell Wilson can get the job done. I think Kenny can get the job done, because I think for the first time in 3 years, the Steelers have a competent offensive coordinator, even if he wasn't a good head coach in Atlanta. So that's where I'm going to leave this. Obviously, it's a controversial topic, and I think it's one of those things. There's multiple right answers to this. I don't, and there's multiple wrong answers to this too. It's not going to be perfect. It's not black and white. That's why we have these discussions, and that's why we're here, and we're not sitting in that comfy chair that I'm sure Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin own. So, with that, drop a comment down below. I'd be happy to discuss and debate further. Follow us on Twitter, add us and tell us I'm wrong, and we'll go from there. I'm totally happy to do that. So subscribe if you like the video. Drop a like on it as well. Stay tuned for some mock drafts coming your way from the channel, and some other off-season stuff here. And before you know it, free agency will be upon us. Draft will be around the corner. We're going to know the answer to this thing, and then we'll just get to move forward and get ready to watch some football with what we got on the team. So I'm excited. Hope you guys are too. And I'll see you next time. Peace.